Okay, so we are doing part 2 right now, and what I'm going to do is check and see if I'm still getting this echoing issue. So what I would really appreciate, if anyone's out there, let me know yes or no if you hear any echoing issues. So that would be a great help. So we're going to go ahead and start the drawing process. So so basically I was working on this arm trying to make it turn, and that's what we want to do. We want to make everything turn. That's the important thing that we want to do. So let's go ahead and continue this process. So I'm using this 0.5 mechanical pencil, and it's really a great tool because you have a lot of control. In drawing, you want control about how much tone you put down. It's always easier to add than to take away, of course. We'll go to the other scene here. Let's see. There we go. That's a nice angle. And so we're just going to make sure that turns. And so, you know, basically what I want to do is to have this live stream. So if anyone's out there, please let me know if you hear any kind of echoing, because I was having issues earlier. So does anyone hear any kind of echoing right now? And so while I'm doing that, I'm just going to concentrate on this so everybody can see the technique, which is most important. But yeah, a lot of nice people were trying to help me with this earlier, and I really appreciate that. I think it had to do with the fact that I actually had YouTube up, and that was causing some issues. So I'm gonna try it one more time and see if now, and I'm just basically trying to go to the comment section. Let's see. Okay, so far unsuccessful to see anyone's comments, but we're just gonna do this real quick. There we go, there's YouTube. Hopefully I won't have to go through the logging in process. Okay, now I opened it up in another computer, and let's see if that is causing any issues. Oh, great! 1956 Willys 4x4. Thank you. So I'm so glad. It was actually, I isolated the problem. It was actually the computer I have the cameras on. It was actually picking up that microphone, so that was causing the issue. So thank you so much for letting me know about that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, after I resolve this arm, we're going to go ahead and work on her hair a little bit. The crown, as you can see, was a lot of work. And, you know, I still have a problem with all my experience of neglecting sort of really hard detail. Do you guys have that trouble too? You know, sort of an approach avoidance to certain things, which if we just tackle them, I'm sure we would really do well and do it. But we're sort of, I know some things I'm afraid of when it comes to drawing. So I'm really excited that the sound is back. That makes me feel good. Quality is everything. I spend so much money on things such as cameras and microphones, and because I think the most important thing is, I don't care so much about subscribers, and I really care about giving really good quality art instruction to everybody. That's my goal. So I've been doing a lot of studying with video editing software. When I do my YouTube videos, not my live streams, my YouTube videos, I definitely want to do something that really grabs the attention of the viewer, and really teach in a way that is enjoyable but also effective. So I'm going to tone down here. I went a little overzealous with the shadows, the highlights of the hair here. Sometimes it pays to get rid of some detail. It could be too much detail, and I think this right here really helps. To know when to put in detail and know when to leave it out. And some of my favorite artists when it comes to portraits, actually one of them is definitely a painter called Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, and I really love his stuff. And let's see if I could pull up one of his portrait drawings. So here, this would be an example of Ingres' portrait drawings, and you can see he's not interested in photorealism. He's doing something that's really sort of a shorthand, especially when it comes to the folds, which is really beautiful, and how he just emphasizes the features. So I really am a big fan of Ingres. I used to go to the Metropolitan and make appointments, and I was actually able to hold these drawings. They're in frames, mind you, but I was actually able to hold them in my hand. So that was really a really good learning tool. So as you can see, Ingres is not interested in putting all the little details, but interested in having, see how there's more detail in his face. He's probably the guy who is paying for the portrait, and then his wife, and then the baby. So compositionally, you see how the movement goes from the male to the wife to the baby. So really pretty cool. So that's something to always look into, and that always helps a lot. So that's one other thing I want to also have my art lessons include art history, and how to look at paintings and drawings, how to be inspired by the work of the old masters. So basically, I'm just going to work on this hair here. Let's go to maybe there's less glare in scene 2. Okay, yeah. So we're just going to calm this down a little bit. So basically, you want to pay attention to what's there, but you also want to see if you left some things out, would it make a better picture? And that's what I want you to think about. So I'm going to start doing some airbrush demonstrations in live view, and it's great because I have these different cameras, and I could really get into a lot of different things, such as like right here. Let me fix my hair, it looks crazy. Oh my god. Okay, so basically I could show you guys the pencils that I'm using, and so with this angle, different kinds of erasers. And over here, this is the paper I use. It is by De La Rowney, It's called Canford. Let me see if I could get a better angle. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. So it's Canford paper, and as you can see, the company is De La Rowney, and it's called Gunmetal. It comes in 10 sheets. It's 8.5 by 11. It's really great. It's thick, it's sturdy, it holds up everything. It's just a fantastic surface to work on. And of course the Pitt pastel pencil is my white pastel pencil that I use. So yeah, having the different angles, I could really do things that I wouldn't able to do. And you know, still a work in progress. And the same goes is that we want to use the stump to go ahead and sort of blend in any of the darks. If it's too dark over here, we don't want a separation, so we definitely want to bring this out. And remember, you want to use the stump that is dedicated just for the graphite, and when you're smoothing the white, the stump just dedicated to the pastel, the white pastel. If you mix them up, it will make a mess, so definitely be mindful of that. So you see we went ahead and sort of killed the highlights of her hair going here, because I think it sort of really helps us to really show off the beautiful contour of her chin and her cheek, which I think would be tragic if we lost that. So this drawing, so basically we are getting a really nice sense of light, of how light is coming from this direction and sort of moving across the form. So I also do airbrush demonstrations on this channel, and airbrush is great. It's one of my favorite mediums, and what I realized that if you can do this with pencil, then airbrush will be a breeze. You just have to basically learn how to use the airbrush, learn its quirks, and then you'll be able to do amazing airbrush paintings. So a lot of times I want to bridge the drawing techniques to painting, whether it be pastel, airbrush, acrylic, or even oils. And let me know if the sound changed, but I think we're okay. I think we solved the problem. So I have 3 cameras going. I have the camera from right here. This is the camera from the computer. How you doing? And then I have the overhead camera. And then over here I have a camera from the side. There are 3 webcams, 2 external and 1 that comes straight from the laptop. So it's pretty cool. But definitely I want to differentiate myself from other live streams. That's important. And you know, it does cost a little bit, but if you wait for sales and do your homework, you'll find that there are really good values when it comes to creating videos, you know, equipment. So there are some strands of hair here. We definitely want to indicate that. So let me see if I can get a little better view here. There we go. So this is the finishing up process. As you can see, it's getting to the point where we're almost done. Let's go to the other. There we go. So we're getting to the point where we're getting very close to the completion of the portrait. But it's nice to see the end result. You know, I'm also doing some really great live feeds, live streams on YouTube. No, this is YouTube. On Facebook. On Facebook, I do it every Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So it's just Timothy John Luke Smith. Just go ahead and, you know, give me a friend request. I'll definitely say yes. And then every Wednesday night, you can go ahead and catch what I'm doing on Facebook as well. I'm going to do some scheduled live streams here on YouTube because I think we finally got all the bugs taken care of, so to speak. So what I'm going to do is right here, I can see that I went a little dark. So when you have the eye socket like right there, it is dark, but there's a lot of light bouncing out, especially bouncing around, especially from the eyelids. So let's go ahead and just ever so slightly pull out some lights in those shadows, just to create a little bit of interest there. See how that just gives a little more depth to her, and doesn't look like it makes her less harsh too. You know, I have a we have a tendency to be heavy-handed with the shadows, so make sure you look and see where the lights are in the shadows, the reflected lights. Same thing here. Since I'm doing that, I know I can do something here in the side plane of the nose. Now, just because I'm doing that doesn't mean that I can't, I can just leave it there. So let's go ahead and soften those edges. So you see how we're creating some really nice luminous quality to those shadows. Cast shadows are different. Cast shadows are usually very harsh, so it would be very difficult to put light in there. But let's see in this cast shadow here, which is right here underneath her lip or bottom lip. Can we go a little dark? Maybe a little cross hatching here, just to give a little bit of volume and dimension. There we go. And I think that actually helps to create a stronger image. Same thing here. Let's work on the creases of her lips here. There we go. Add a little interest here and there. Now here we want to differentiate this cast shadow from form shadow here. Form shadow works a lot different than cast shadow. Form shadow has more light in it. So let's just very lightly tap in some some lights in there. Oh, I would say, you know what? I would say probably at least 20 to 22 hours. Um, I might get very quick in getting to a point where everything is taken care of, where a lot of times it looks done. But all these little subtleties in here, that's where the extra 20 hours pretty much come. So thank you. I really appreciate it. You know how I perfected this technique is I used to work a 9 to 5 job and travel in and out of the city. So I would take the train and I would actually draw on the train rather than just look out the window. And I would do a series of these drawings and I would call them my train girls. If you ever get a chance to go on my website, www.paintedglyphs.com, you go to the drawing section and you can see a lot of those drawings I did on a train. And back when I was a kid going to the academy in the city, I used to love working with the gray paper. It's always a lot of fun. I'll tell you, once you start with the gray paper, it's really hard to go back with the white. It just looks so much better and looks more like an old master drawing, which is really what started me using the gray paper. A lot of the old masters would use gray paper when doing studies because it was quicker, and they could use the sometimes they would use like a white crayon or even a white like paint to pull up those highlights. Okay, so here we can see it's a little light on this side. So let's go ahead and just cross hatch a little bit. And what I do when you want an even area, when you see areas that are lighter, go ahead and hit them first. Even them out. Even out the lighter areas. And that's what I do when I'm working in airbrush as well, is I'm evening out. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me know what you think of those drawings. And you see I'm evening out the lighter areas, and then I can go ahead and darken it as a whole. Because if I darken it before I even out the lighter areas, I'll just create that same disparity of value. Cross hatching is definitely something that you want to practice because it is the best technique for drawing. And I'm sure there's some really great tutorials here on Facebook on cross hatching. Cross hatching is usually done with like pen and ink. And you see how we're evening it out. And, we don't have to go in and get really dark in here. We don't want to do any detail in the hair. I love the fact that sort of this side of the face, her face is nice and loose and airy. You get a feeling of air. So there's a book I want you to get. You're going to love this book. It's called Light for the Artist by Ted Seth Jacobs. If you get a chance, please go ahead and get that book. It's on Amazon right now. You can even get it on Kindle. Read it several times. That's what I do. I'm reading it now for the third time. And you just talks about art in a sort of semi-scientific way, but from the aspect of an artist. And, you know, what we have to do to depict, you know, the illusion of form by using a pencil or a paintbrush, whether it be, you know, paint or graphite. I was going to put some highlights in the hair, but I don't think I have to. I think I can pretty much get away with not doing that. Now, one of the things I do is I will, when I'm like on the road, so to speak, drawing on trains, I will print out the reference material as you see here. Let me see if I could go to the other angle. So I'll print out, so this is the reference material, the model posed for me. This is the photo I had taken. And here you go. So you see that's the reference material. So I would do that. And then I would, you know, pack all my pencils and everything, and then I would basically just have like a case, and I would be able to go ahead and travel. And you know, when I get in the train and sit down, I could just take it out and take out my art supplies and just get busy. Very cool. So I'm sure it's something that we could, you know, a lot of those lost hours, whether it's, you know, waiting at a dentist's office or, you know, all different things, traveling. If you're traveling on the train or even a plane, it would be a great way to make the time go by. I know you guys feel that the same way, that nothing passes the time better than drawing or painting. It's too bad we can't take our art supplies, total art supplies, on the train. Be kind of funny with the compressor, right? Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and see that there's something happening right here. Some little flicks of light. And that has to do with the muscles in her face and her forehead. We have to create that volume. And how we're going to do that is not only putting the lights, but the darks which surround those lights. Same thing here. Let's go ahead and hit some of those lights. Let's see if this camera, okay, we can probably see a little bit better with this camera. Let's see. This camera angle is a little bit weird. Let's see. There. Okay. So let's concentrate on sort of finding those darks next to the highlight, which, remember that a light is only really accentuated when there's a darker color next to it. So we are really close to the completion of this particular drawing, which is great. Later today I might start a new one, and let's see if we could do that together. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, so basically this was test number 2, and I hope, and thank you so much 1956 for stopping by again. Always a pleasure. I hope to see you soon. Don't forget, on Wednesday night on 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook, and stay tuned for my new YouTube's regularly scheduled live views, not just live streams, not just for drawing, but also for airbrush. So we're definitely going to do that. So thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a great rest of the Saturday if I don't talk to you later today.